Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's info session for the newest master's program here at the Walton College of Business at the University of Arkansas called the Master's of Science in Product Innovation. I'm excited to be here today to give you an overview of this innovative master's program, and I'm excited to welcome a few students that are in the program today, and then also one of our professors, Stephen Kincaid, who teaches our product management course. So without further ado, we'll get started, and hopefully after about maybe 30 minutes into the presentation, we'll be able to allow for some questions, or if there are specific questions that come up during this, especially when we get to the potential paths, feel free to ask those and we can work to answer those. Thank you for being here today. So to start things, I'm just going to go ahead and kick it over and introduce ourselves, the team that is behind managing the Masters of Science in Product Innovation, and I'll let Matthew do his introduction here.
All right, so that picture is me. I'm Matthew. I'm the kind of program manager for a few things, but one of them is this master's degree program. So I deal with a lot of the student services, basically just helping make sure while you're in the program, you have all the resources you need, you get in the classes that you need, and get out of the program and on to continue your successful career. I guess I have to say a little bit of personal things here as well. So I moved here to Northwest Arkansas specifically for the outdoor recreation, and because the university was here, and so that's what I spend my free time doing is playing outside. It's currently getting summertime, so that involves lots of sweat, but I still enjoy it either way.
Thank you, Matthew. Yeah, and Matthew a lot of times helps handle a lot of the administrative stuff on the front end, a lot of the recruitment questions that people have to answer. But both he and I can tackle just about any of the questions. But he has been involved with the graduate programs here at the Walton College of Business for much longer than I have. So usually if it's more detailed question, I will punt it over to him and he can help answer that for anybody. So a little bit about myself. Thank you for again for being here. So I'm just like a lot of you. I'm not a traditional academic by any means. I've been with the university now 3.5 years. I'm a founder. I'm a small business owner. Now I'm an educator. I've been a product manager. But more importantly, husband, son, dad, soccer coach. Although I just retired from coaching soccer for the last 4 years because my daughter no longer wants to play soccer. So I'm going to hang up the jersey there, and professional motivator, basketball super fan, and then just like Matthew, really enjoy a lot of the outdoor recreation activities here in Northwest Arkansas and the surrounding region. So this is my family here, my wife Melina, and then my daughter Ia and son Damon. And that is me with a beard and without a beard. So a little bit about me professionally. As I mentioned, I'm not a traditional academic. I come from an early career where I spent 10 years working in the CPG, consumer packaged goods and retail world. My most adventurous activity during that time was working on a strategic planning team, doing a corporate restructure with the Maricent company, which later rebranded to Whole Earth Brands. I joined them out of bankrupt when they were coming out of bankruptcy and led part of the strategic planning team where I worked in various roles, including demand planning, trade marketing, and then eventually sales. My passion was really driven in entrepreneurship, so innovating inside organizations at that time. And I eventually came to the University of Arkansas to do an EMBA and was really passionate about their new venture development program, starting new companies outside of that program. And that spun out a startup called Scose, which was a retail technology company that we ran for 6 years. And we were building a consumer platform that connected brands and consumers outside the store. And then later on, a passion project developed by my wife and I during a time living overseas and was building a small business that we started in here in Fayetteville in 2018 called Big Box Karaoke. I've put all my roles down here. So in that particular one, that was just a jack of all trades, kind of doing everything. We're more into the kind of management of the business these days and working on expansion. And then most recently in the last 3.5 years has been working here at the University of Arkansas, where I joined to help manage the Macmillan Innovation Studio and direct that program and continue to build that. And then in the last year have taken on additional responsibility of managing this Master's of Science in Product Innovation program that we'll dive a lot more into detail about here soon. Matthew, I think we have a few people in the waiting room.
Nim came back.
So a little bit about our structure here. We like to use acronyms at the university, as you can probably imagine, and I'll explain what those are. So the Macmillan Innovation Studio falls under the direction of the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation. It's just a relatively new organization here within the university in the last 5 to 6 years, but really spun out of the work that had been completed with the new venture development program and the success that that program had had for many years. And so, under the direction of the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, we have various incubation arms, including our GORP greenhouse program up in Bentonville. We have additional spaces throughout the region, including the studio, our startup village here in Fayetteville. And they're really, the studio perspective has been around since 2016, emerged with OEI a few years ago. And the studio really started out as a retail tech and innovation lab. And I like to explain this because it explains the important partnership between the innovation studio and the Masters of Science and Product Innovation. And so this studio began in 2016 from a gift from Doug and Shelley McMillan, really as a retail tech and innovation lab. At the early stages, it was really focused on like scanning technologies, last mile delivery services. And then eventually some new leadership came in 2018 and spun out a new program called Design Teams through some work that they had done with IDEO out in California. And that became the foundation of the program within the studio. Today, we've launched several programs. We've scaled the studio from roughly 7 design teams a year to essentially working with about 48 teams this last year. Several hundred students come through the studio every year, and they learn several things. Most importantly, they learn design teams, human-centered design, foundational skills, and we teach them product management skills. So we have design teams and we have product teams. This is all driven at an undergraduate level. We are working with organizations in the community all the way up from Fortune 1 down to local nonprofits to help bring innovation and solve meaningful problems within their organizations and create change and ultimately help provide students great training in various skill sets that will help impact their career long term, whether they choose to be kind of an entrepreneur in an organization or they choose to do something entrepreneurial and seek out an endeavor that they're looking for long term to make an impact. This is our space over to the right. So we're on campus here. We are located in the Harmon parking garage. Every great idea comes from a garage, I think they like to say. So we do a lot of great stuff in there. We also teach our MSPI classes in there. And it's a fun, innovative space. It's very welcoming and students love it. It's a student space. It's open 24/7 to students. So anybody who works within our programs has access to this space. They can come in there and they work. We usually have food, beverages. There's a lot of creative connections that happen from being in this space, and it's just a fun place to get to know people and get stuff done. Let's talk about MSPI. So MSPI was created we wrote the program a couple of years ago, and we launched our first cohort this last August. So we have a few students here today, which will talk about their interest in the program and then also their experience in the program. And it's really been designed to develop product management and innovation skills, offering a hands-on environment and a collaborative space to really create meaningful connections with people and to take ideas from what we call a 0 to 1 kind of mindset. It could be from idea to launch. It could be an entrepreneurial idea that they're working on in their organization, or it could be entrepreneurial. And you'll hear perspectives from multiple students today about their experience and what they're working on. We just got the new tuition requirements yesterday, so there was a slight increase in tuition this last year. And the tuition for this program is $23,000. And then you can do this program full-time or part-time. About 75% of people are enrolled in the 2-year part-time program, which we'll talk about how those timelines work for everybody. And there is also a GMAT and a GRE waiver available based on your experience. And then, of course, you can seek out more information about the program here at the website, mspi.uark.edu. And then I also have my contact information here if you'd like to connect directly. So without further ado, I have 2 or 3 students here. I'd like to pass it over to Jeff Montgomery to talk about his experience and why he joined MSPI, and maybe share a little bit about what you're working on today and why you'd recommend this program.
Yeah, absolutely. So I joined the program initially after going through a reorg within the company that I had been working for. I'd been working at Walmart in in the intelligent retail lab. And after a reorganization, I moved over to automation and engineering. And as someone with a history background, whenever I initially came out of college, who then went into the military and then into supply chain operations, I saw a need to reinforce the academic side and the kind of professional education side of where I had landed within my career path. And so, after discussing with my leaders at the time and looking at the offerings that were available at the U of A, I didn't feel like a traditional MBA necessarily fit with what I was looking to do, especially since I worked very specifically in the innovation space and in product as a bit of a hybrid product manager as well. And so, whenever I saw the listing for this particular uh, degree program, it really checked a lot of boxes. And so I got into contact with the university and applied and was accepted into it. And ever since then, the system and the program has been everything that I've been looking for at the time. And since then, it's continued to motivate me in different ways. So um, I have left my original organization, and now I've decided to go out on my own and start my own business through a series of really through inspiration that I received while I was in the program, to start my own business, start working on technologies on my own, and start developing my own products. And now I'm using this program as a way to continue to propel my products as well as my business forward, as I'm learning the key foundational portions of starting a business. And what I've kind of told a lot of people whenever I discuss this degree, it's yes, in large part it is very much of a product focused degree, product management, but also I like to think of it a bit more as a more of an entrepreneur's or more of a maker's or more of a designer's version of an MBA, where you learn a lot of those business formation techniques and kind of how to get things going. And there's a lot of portions about talking to investors and venture and just all those different portions of it. So if you're looking for something a lot more dynamic and a lot more almost modern than the traditional MBA route, especially if you're in tech or you're wanting to start your own business, there's portions of this program that are very appealing to someone who's looking uh, to complement their skill sets with that kind of education.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. I do apologize for the misspelling of your name on this slide as well, but appreciate the input there. And hopefully when we have some questions, I'm sure there will be some specific ones that you can help answer. So thank you for your input. The next student we have is Nim. Let me go back here, sorry. Nim, are you on the call? I think you are.
I am. I'm here.
Okay, great. Thank you for being here, Nim. I'll let you share a little bit about your experience as well. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So I am non-traditional for sure. And when I was looking for a program to get into, I had a project I wanted to use this leverage or this platform to really leverage and try to take advantage of. And so I knew I wanted to go back to school because it really gives you resources that you wouldn't have otherwise. And so as I was exploring my options, because I already had an MBA, and so I needed something else that could supplement the MBA and develop some new skills. And so I talked to Sarah Goforth, and she said, "Well, they've got this new program, this Masters in Product Innovation." So yeah, I took a look at it, talked to Justin. I've known Justin for a while. Talked to Matthew about it, and it seemed like a good fit. And so it really, in terms of what I got out of the MSPI program, it gives you a different perspective. And so I'd already been a venture-backed entrepreneur before, but the experience with MSPI really gave me an additional lens to look at developing products more from a user standpoint. It's something that I would say probably a lot of entrepreneurs overlook because a lot of times we're experts within our domain, and we for better or worse, think we know what the right way to do things are. And so just being able to take a step back from that and then gaining that knowledge from this program has been really helpful. And also the whole product management side of things also gives more structure to the entrepreneur step or entrepreneur journey, because like again, we think we know everything. We know how to do things. We've been educated. We're engineers. Some of us have MBAs, but it reminded me that yes, we don't know everything. It was somewhat of a humbling experience, I think, this time around to do this. The platform was really tremendously advantageous for me. I leveraged the experience to get exposure to the project I was working on, which was taking biomass and turning it to jet fuel. And so getting access to this platform to really work on a project that could potentially have a really big impact on the planet as a whole has been invaluable. And then we also won, I think, right around $55,000 from different competitions that we were able to get into because of this program. And so the program itself, you can easily use it to pay for itself, but it also gives you access to this network of not just people in Northwest Arkansas, but investors really throughout the country and throughout the world.
That's great. Thank you, Nim, for sharing that. I think I'll come back to you in just a second about your experience in new venture development once we get into the paths. Next up, we have Amanda. Amanda, are you here on the call as well? I think you
Yes.
are. Okay, great. I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Justin. My story and reason for being here does parallel Jeff's a little bit. I had a completely different educational background and start to my career. I was a biology major at the University of Arkansas and went to dental hygiene school after that. I worked locally here in Northwest Arkansas as a dental hygienist for over 7 years before deciding that I wanted to try something different. And I knew virtually nothing about the tech space, but I wanted to learn. So I taught myself web development and started there, loved it, started looking for jobs, and ended up with Acre Trader, which is a local startup. And I've served multiple roles here, as one typically does in a startup. So in my time with the company, I've been a data analyst, a program manager, and now a product owner. And all of these roles were new to me, and I had to get into the company to get exposed to some of what was out there. And so I didn't know that product existed before I worked here. And once I got a better visual on the space, I figured out that that was where I wanted to be. And I didn't necessarily intend on going to school for that originally, because I was already I had a full-time job, have a full-time job. I'm a wife and a mom. I'm extremely busy. I did not think that school was something that was an option for me right now. But then I heard about the program and was curious and scheduled a meeting with Matthew on a whim that I really didn't think would go anywhere, and was really excited to learn about the part-time track that's basically made for working professionals, and that it was something that could work for me. So I am on the part-time track. So I've completed the first year of the program, and I can say it's already been valuable. It's given me so much context that's more industry-wide applicable, whereas all I otherwise knew was what I've learned here at this one company. It's let me ask the right questions of our leadership team, be more impactful in meetings and to my product. And yeah, it's really been a great experience so far.
Great. Thank you for sharing, Amanda, and for being here today. Okay, a little bit about the program. I'm going to talk about just kind of the details behind all the details that go into it in terms of practicum and electives, and we'll go through kind of a general schedule. And so the program, as you mentioned, is geared for part-time professionals to work in, although it can be completed in 1 year. It consists of 18 hours of foundational courses, and then 6 hours of practicum and 6 hours of electives. And so I'll dive deep on the next slide into the core. And then regarding the practicum, those can come in the forms of various things, new venture development program. There's an organizational innovation track that's available, digital product innovation track, and then kind of a choose your own. So choose your own adventure track where you can be working on things on your own. And some of the people actually on this call, the students are choosing to work on their own kind of products at this point, and we serve as the faculty advisors, helping kind of direct that and allowing them the space to innovate, to learn, to get to market, to test, and to do all those things necessary in this program. Electives, so you can choose from various electives that are available within the college. Those can be done, at times that fit your schedule. If you're available on nights, there are various courses that might meet that demand that you can choose from. Sometimes they could be during the day. Most of the time, there is flexibility to engage with these on the Saturday courses as well. And so right now, the way it's structured is, one Saturday a month, you'll be attending classes in person. You typically attend the first class, from 8 to kind of the noon time frame. You have a break for lunch, and then the second class will be from 1 to 5. And during that lunch break time, it's really a great time to actually connect with other master's programs that are happening on campus at the same time, which include the MBA, the Master's of Information Systems, Supply Chain, and you can find space to connect with those students that you might be looking to kind of continue to build your network on. A little bit about the structure. So we put up here the part-time path, which is the path that most people are on, and then the full-time path. So essentially the full-time is just going to mean you're going to take more courses per semester. Can it be done while you're working full-time? I'll let Nim answer that question in a second, but let me take you through the part-time path. So the way we've structured this is really designed, let me back up. The way we've restructured this has been based on customer feedback. So the customers are on the call today, and we've evaluated and listened to them about their needs in this first year of the program, because at the end of the day, we take our own advice when building this program and analyze the responses from our end users and try to understand, okay, are we meeting their needs? Are we meeting their demands? And there was some restructure of the program. And so the way it looks today is really taking us through the whole product innovation kind of life cycle. So the first semester, you're doing business foundations for entrepreneurs. In the fall, user research and applied environments. The spring semester, you get into the human-centered design process, the product management process. The summer, you go into principles of prototyping and design, and then there's a legal course. And so the way that's structured in design is that you could take an idea that you're coming into the program with through that whole year-long process, doing a lot of different validation points to really dive into the needs of the product that you're interested in. And then you can bring that into that second year, which is all about building, launching, or if you're specific into another track, it could be incorporated into that as well, right? But there's a lot of flexibility into that as it's designed. What I love about the part-time program too is the way it's designed is if you go with this structure, you finish in the spring of year 2, which means that when graduation happens, you are done and you are walking across stage with the program complete. There are some other programs that are available, but you end up taking another summer course, and so it can feel a little anticlimactic when you're not quite done yet. But this program is designed to end in spring year 2. Although, if there are changes in your own structure or your requirements for time, it can be flexible and you can carry into the summer, and we can work through that as well. So that is the part-time program. The full-time program, again, just is a little bit more demanding semester by semester. I've restructured it in a way of a recommendation here to move kind of the product practicum into the back half of the program, because the fall, the year 1 can just be a little bit more demanding, especially when you get into the new venture development side of things if you do that track. New venture development is not required by any means, but it is one of the most common tracks that students do within the MSPI program. And if you've seen news from the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation and this particular track from the university, you'll see that it has had a lot of success over the years. And in fact, Nim's team, ProPika, and the company that they've started has had a lot of success this last year through the competition circuit, and I'll let him kind of talk about it in just a second. So business foundations, user research and applied environments, new venture development does start in the fall. There is some, if you do the full-time program, there is some issues that need to be addressed in terms of your background in business foundations. If you do not have a background in business, it is recommended that you actually take the business foundations course in the summer so that you can start new venture development in the fall. But if you do have a strong background in business, there is some dynamics where that overlap can happen in the fall. But this is as it's recommended right now. And then spring year one, human-centered design, product management, you continue on with new venture development. And then that summer, you'll be back in the prototyping and design, the legal courses, and then really working on your product practicum. So let's say you started with an idea that you're carrying forward through that first 9 months or so. And then in the summer, it's about really just scaling up the work that you're doing, looking to launch, looking to continue to build, whatever that kind of part of your program you might be in. It's flexible enough to meet the demands that you're in at that point. So I think, Nim, if you don't mind, I'd like for you to kind of speak on the new venture development track. You've successfully went through this track actually 2 times in your career, and so maybe talk about it from those perspectives and how you fit this schedule within being a working professional as well in this last year.
Okay. So I'll start with the whole working professional and trying to do this full time at the same time is like, it's a lot of work. And initially I was like, it won't be too bad. It's like 3 classes, new venture development. I know what that's all about. So I was like, it shouldn't be too bad. But it, if you got a full-time job and you try to do this full-time too, it doesn't leave much room for other things in your life, like your significant other. And so like, just be mindful of that. And fortunately for me, I was just, I have a very understanding partner. And so she's been, patient through all this, but she said I owe her several vacations. And so that's the one thing I'd say is like, be mindful of not just you, but like the people that are around you that it's going to affect, your families and things like that. And understand that if you do try to work full time and do this full time, that it's going to be pretty demanding. And so that's all I'll say about that. And then in terms of new venture development, like Justin said, I did it twice. And so I knew what I was getting in terms of that platform, getting access to doing those things. However, the last time I did it was 14 years ago. Yeah, 14 years ago. And so 2 different professors. The first time I did it was with Carol Reeves, and this time was with Sarah Goforth. And things have changed, believe it or not, over 14 years. Things do change. And so the first time I did, I didn't know what I was doing, and jumped into it thinking, it's a class project. We're never going to start this company. And it was a technology that made plastics from trees. And so it was super interesting, super fun to work on. But the technology didn't work, and we knew that. But the business plan was built around replacing single-use plastic bags with this new plastic that we'd come up with that was biodegradable. And so it resonated with everybody when we pitched it, and we had success. We were featured in the Fortune 500 issue in 2011. So there's a full page a picture of us in that one. So that's kind of our only claim to fame. But as we went through that process, I mean, it got a lot of traction, and people got excited about it to the point where we started drinking our own Kool-Aid by the end of it. And we had investors that were saying, hey, how much money do you need to start this? And the business plan said we needed $600,000 in seed funding. And we were pitching down at Rice, and an investor came up to us and asked us that same question. And I told him, yeah, $600,000. And he said, well, I'm going to give you $750,000 because I think you need more. And so by this time we'd heard this from a lot of people. So I was like, yeah, whatever, but he was like, schedule a formal pitch with us in Dallas and we'll make it happen. So I was like, all right. So I followed up with him, a couple weeks later, and I went up to Dallas, pitched it. And as we're walking out, he said, you didn't really have to pitch. I'd already decided we're going to fund you. I was like, all right. And then again, I'm a new entrepreneur. I've never done this before. I never had someone give me $750,000 to go make my dreams come true or whatever. And so I walk out and I'm like, we have a very high chance of failing. And he looked at me, he said, Nim, my job is to manage risk. Your job is just to go make this happen. So I was like, all right, as long as we understand each other. And so, yeah, took about 4 months. We closed the deal. We got the money, started working on it. Um, and it was great, ended up raising another couple $1 million. And ultimately we ran out of money, but we did make progress. We got our product to market. But that experience really shaped my career because I went from that to, once that kind of wound down, I had to figure out what to do next. And again, because I'd been involved in the entrepreneurship ecosystem here in Northwest Arkansas, it had open doors. And so we'd gotten a grant from the National Science Foundation for $1 million, basically. And so people around here knew I could help with that. And so I was helping write some grant proposals for different companies. And one company was Lapivations, which was also going through the new venture development program. And I wrote the grant proposal for them. I told the CEO, Jared Greer, the founder, I said, it's pretty good. I said, I think you got it. I wasn't doing anything at the time. So I said, you should just hire me. And he said, well, let me talk to my co-founder. And so they talked, and then we negotiated a deal. And so I started working on medical devices. Hadn't taken an anatomy or biology class since high school. And so getting thrown into this whole new industry, but I developed skills that were useful. And so I applied the skills that I learned in plastics and different things. And it worked out really well. And then got them the grant, and they've gotten over $1.75 million in grants. And so I think I've paid for myself, and I think they'd agree. And we also raised $1.25 million in venture funding. And so that's worked out really well. And so, like, as an entrepreneur, I was like, well, I'm always looking at ideas. And so I've gotten involved with this group called, and I'm getting long winded. I apologize, but I'll try to wrap this up. So I got involved with Science Venture Studio. And so by working with Science Venture Studio, we help other companies with their grant proposals. And so I get a lot of ideas that come across my desk now. And so it's a lot of advanced materials, and it's a lot of medical devices. And so when I see these opportunities, I'm like, oh, this is great. I wish I could work on it, right? And so, so I just happened to come across one, the biomass jet fuel, that really fit my background. I was like, well, I gotta see this through and try to get to a go no go decision. And so that's when I decided to leverage the program and get into MSPI to really determine if this thing has legs. And when I got back into it, I reactivated my network, going back to the plastics from trees, and people were excited about it. And these are people that I'd spent all their money, and I felt bad about it. And I've got these people excited about this project where they're like, how much money do you need? And we'll start working on it. But this time around, I want to make sure the technology works before I take any of their money. But it's nice to know that because of the Walton College, that I'm in a position where I have people that are willing to invest in me or my projects without doing a whole lot of hard work in terms of like just finding the investors, finding who to present to, because like they're there, and having the relationships with them, it's a much easier lift to like pitch them the project because they know they trust my judgment. And then it's just a matter of just negotiating the deal. How much equity are we giving up? Is it a debt deal or is it an equity deal? And so because of not just the MBA program, but because of the MBA program and the MSPI program, that's what's really given me the ability to do the things that I can do and have the impact that I can have. And like, I mean, I tell this to people sometimes where it's like, because of the things that I've gotten access to and the skills I've developed through these programs, I do feel like I can have a big impact in the world, and if you ask me, when I graduated with my undergrad degree in chemical engineering, I would have never thought that. I would have never thought I'm going to go work for a big oil company or something like that, work for 20, 30 years and retire, 40 years, whatever it is. But because of what the Walton College has offered me, it really changed my life, and really, hopefully I can give back and make a bigger impact, not just in the community, but, on the world as a whole. So that's all I got.
That's great. And I think just kind of summarizing a little bit about his experiences too. So in the first experience with new venture development, I want to make sure this is clear for people that might be interested in this space, is that there was ideas that were brought into the program and kind of pitched, and he saw that idea and wanted to kind of run with it. And the second time that he went through NVD, he had like an idea that he had saw already or seen as an opportunity, and he brought into the program, right? So if you're in a space in your career where you're not sure, like, I don't want you to get deterred from the program thinking, well, I don't have anything that I want to work on, or I don't have anything that I'm super passionate about. There's still a space for you. And it doesn't have to be NVD then that you're participating in, but we do know that the experience in NVD is meaningful and impactful, and will really take you through the whole 0 to 1 kind of process of product management and product innovation as a mindset, and taking something to market, and really looking at that holistically. So that's great. Thank you, Nim, for sharing that experience. Just a few things. I think what's important about this program is not just the work in the class. It's about the community that you build through this program. We are a small, tight-knit group right now, so we just had 7 students in this first cohort. It's likely that we'll end up with 20 in the fall, so it'll be a slightly larger group. But this picture over here on the left was us touring the new Sam's Club design studio clubhouse that will be launched here in the next couple of months near the home office or the headquarters for Sam's Club. This was a workshop we did at the Fayetteville Public Library where we learned how to use CAD software, and also CNC machines, the Glowforge machines to create clocks. That was a fun experience. Of course, some networking, doing some Topgolf, and then an ideation session on human-centered design during our orientation. So these are just a few things that we're doing. We're always trying to look at professional development opportunities, continue finding ways to bring our students together outside of the classroom. And so it's not required, a lot of times, it's not required that everybody attends these events, obviously, but we try to provide opportunities that people can connect to, and opportunities that are outside of the classroom. We've had a lot of publications this last year that we're very proud of. So we'll send this presentation out also with these links, so you can find a little bit more information. This last one right here was about our prototyping and design course, which there were some really interesting ideas that have come out of that. Of course, NIMS talked a little bit about their experience in the competition circuit, which they've placed in several competitions. This one, I believe, was with the Department of Defense, this Energy Tech University competition, and then this one at the largest competition in the state of Arkansas, which is the Arkansas Governor's Cup, which the University of Arkansas each year does extremely well in, and you can win, I think, up to $20,000 for first place. So a lot of great just opportunities that are in the competition circuit. Again, this is not something that you have to do, but it's fun to be part of, and it's just a great learning experience all around. There are a few scholarship opportunities that are available. So this is something that's different from a lot of programs, especially master's level programs at the university. This is going to be specific for just this year. So Matthew has graciously found some additional funds available that he has turned into 7 scholarship opportunities of $5,000 apiece. And so we will basically be announcing that. Well, this is the first time that we are announcing it publicly. And so that 5,000 scholarship opportunity will be available to first-year admitted students into MSPI. Sorry, second-year students that are on the call here. I know that there are some additional funding opportunities that you had qualified for as well. And then we'll send out details, but a 1-page overview of your product innovation practicum plans will be required to submit for this. More details will come out about that here soon. The timeline has passed on this, but if you are considering maybe not applying this year, but for next year, there are fellowship opportunities that are available through a grant that was made from the Walton Family Foundation that flows through the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation. You can apply for that. And it's really about the participation in the new venture development program, about bringing a new idea to life. So it does require that you have an idea that you're wanting to take through kind of on the practicum purposes, but you can apply for that. And there's, I forget the detailed amounts. Okay, so here it is, for those fellowship applications, an additional award of $10,000 a year for the master's students or $12,000 a year for doctoral students. There's also, you can elect to receive the flat award amount, which is $15,000 a year for the master's and $17,000 for the doctoral. The only difference in those two is one comes with a grad assistantship. So if you're a full-time student, the grad assistantship might be a better option for you. But if you're planning to do the part-time, just the flat award amount might be the best option for you as well. Again, these are things that are not typically available for graduate level programs, especially master's programs. So it's a really unique opportunity for us at this stage with the MSPI program. So why are we doing this? What is the why behind this program exist? There's a lot of different reasons, but one of the big reasons is that there is a high demand of product-led talent, product innovators, product managers globally. There's actually a relatively low supply of these people. And so right now it's projected that today globally, there's about 4 to 5 million product managers in existence. And then by 2030, it's projected that there will be in demand of 10 million. And there's not very many programs nationally that are actually teaching the foundations of product innovation the way that we were doing it, the way we were looking to get people into market, into these product-led organizations to become product leaders. One of the reasons why it's so in demand today is that organizations offer a silo now in the role of product, right? 50% of Fortune 100 companies have a role of chief product officer today, which means there's an entire section of the organization that rolls up to this person. That role hardly existed just a decade ago. And so now there are pathways within organizations for people to go. So whether you're looking to become more entrepreneurial and pursue your own endeavors personally, or you're looking to be a product leader inside an organization, we believe this program can fit your needs. The great thing is if you choose to work in an organization, it's in high demand, there's a relatively low supply, and what that ultimately yields is higher pay. And so it's a job field that is high paying and provides a lot of great career opportunities for you in the future. I throw this slide up here as well because this is ultimately a slide that explains why the importance of this role exists. And it's that people that get trained in these areas, they understand how to work cross-functionally. They understand how to work with diverse teams. They understand how to take something to market. They ultimately understand how to work with tools that a lot of different users use. And this is what a product stack kind of looks like. And it's an eye chart, obviously, but there are so many tools that people have to use in their day-to-day jobs. And people that can make sense of these things understand how to work within an organization cross-functionally and get the most out of the organization and the innovation cycles that they're working towards. So if you're looking for job growth in the product industry, if you're looking to become an innovation leader, if you're looking to differentiate yourself in the job field, or just personally, you're looking for growth in your own ventures, if you're looking for networking opportunities with like-minded people, and if you're looking to make an impact, I think the MSPI program can be a great program for you and fit your future needs of your career. So applications are still open today. They will be concluding or closing next week this year by June 15th. And we have a few spots left open in the cohort that we'll be making decisions on for the fall. And so we hope that you consider applying to the MSPI program. And if you have any questions, we will open it up now for questions and be happy to answer those. Oh, I guess I should have, Stephen, I totally forgot to introduce you.
No, you're fine.
Well, let me give you an introduction. So we do
Yeah,
have one of our professors here, Stephen. See, this is what happened when I asked you if you wanted to speak at the beginning of the
right.
the talk.
I chose wisely.
You chose, yes, the latter. So Stephen Kincaid, he is a product leader at JB Hunt, and he teaches our product management course. So maybe just share about your experience, Stephen, and the importance of this, and kind of your role as a professor here, and what you see as the opportunity within this program.
Sounds great. First, I just want to say congratulations. I'm just super impressed with Nim that he got all of his assignments in on time, doing this full time. I don't know how he did that. So I just very impressed. What's interesting is you were talking and knowing that I chose ladder, I was trying to think, what am I going to say here about this program? Obviously, I don't want to bore you with my background, but it was interesting. The why MSPI slide, literally those 5 bullet points were things that I had jotted down as to why you should be taking this program. And Amanda, you said it, Nim, you said it, Jeff, it's all about impact and the impact you want to make in your life. I look at my career. I've spent over 25 years in corporate America doing product development. I'm more of that entrepreneur. I have this side hobby of always wanting to be that entrepreneur. I'm just not there yet. But coming through, as Justin introduced me to this program and the opportunity to actually get into the academic world of trying to teach, one of the things that I have seen across my career in corporations, and especially now in the technology space, engineering and technology space, we always tend to lead with technology as opposed to empathy and understanding what our customers and users truly want. We usually have stakeholders who are paying for it that want what they want. And so one of the things coming into this that I wanted to do is just bring the craft of product really to the forefront so that if you are looking at ways, whether it's an entrepreneurial perspective or an entrepreneurial perspective, you can understand how to take that spark of an idea and begin to work, Justin, you said it, cross collaboratively with, cross functionally across different roles. It is a team sport. You cannot do this by yourself. While you might form a product team that's really close knit and highly productive and effective, you have to work with other members across various roles to bring something to life and make it valuable to the people who are actually going to consume it or use it. So when I walked in, the one last thing I'll say, because I know there's probably going to be some questions. When I walked in the Macmillan Innovation Lab studio, I was taken aback, and I'm like, I came back to JB Hunt, and I'm like, we got to redo how our cubes are structured immediately. Our product teams cannot work the way they're working if we don't have it structured just like the studio. So, I'm still working on that, but I still keep preaching that it is the most collaborative space and best opportunity to network that I have ever seen. So I'll pause there.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say about the discussion with Stephen over time too is, he and his organization at JB Hunt are in the midst of, building a more product-led organization. So they are going through a lot of these dynamics together as well. And so he brings in that expertise, he brings in that experience into the program, and he's able to teach that within the courses as well. So you'll find a lot of the instructors within MSPI, they're doing this work day to day as well in their organizations. And so having that experience, having that exposure, the ability to build your network out too, provides you a great opportunity to expand the work in your career as well. So thank you, Stephen, for being here today. So we got about 10 minutes left here, so we'll open it up for a few questions. And if I'm not able to answer it, I know that somebody else on this call will be able to answer it. And if there's no questions, we are also comfortable with silence. Well, we've answered every question, Matthew, that there was. We knew that bringing the students together, yeah, we knew that bringing the students together and Stephen here would help do that. So I think unless anybody has anything to add or any last minute questions, we can wrap this up here. So I encourage, if you're interested, to definitely apply. Applications are closing soon for this next academic year. And of course, we'll be able to share this video out. And If not now, then hopefully later. You can always reach out to Matthew and I with additional questions, and the students here in the program are always more than willing to help answer questions and tell you a little bit more about their experience as well. So I'll wrap it up. I appreciate everyone that's joined the call today. Thank you for taking the time to be here. We hope we talk to you in the product community. We hope you see an MSPI one day, and please reach out if you have any questions. Thank you again.
Thanks, guys.